Okay, so we are live. Doing some coaching with Harry right now. Harry, right? Harvey. Harvey. It's very easy to do that.
Certainly.
Alright, it's pretty good apex. You can carry a little more speed through there.
Yeah, I think that's a common theme for me. I either underslow or I completely miss the point.
Yeah.
I can never seem to make it thick.
Pretty good line through Rouge though.
I had to lift up, I was just a little bit.
It depends on the setup. I know the Ferrari is really tough to get through there flat, so.
Yeah, I'm running the go safe setup, so
So you can take a lot more curb on the inside there. That's a good line through there. And then you want to be a little more over to the middle of the track and then go through there. That's a good exit though. I turn in earlier there and trail brake all the way into the apex.
okay. This is the problem always for me, I never get stuck up. I always end up overslowing that particular corner. Always overslowing.
And I don't know about the Ferrari, but you might be able to take that in fourth.
Okay, try that again. Too hot.
Good line through there. You can take more inside of that curb. There's like a flat portion of it that you can use.
Yeah.
The turn-in point's weird. You kind of have to just feel it out.
Yes, it is indeed. Okay. Coach again.
Alright, so when you turn in here, go as close to the wall as you can. You can take all that curb. And if you turn in a little later, you'll get a better exit.
Yeah.
So there, you had to lift because you missed the curb on the left. Take all of that curb on the left side, and then you can flatline it up the hill.
I'll try that again. I simply can't get the car to rotate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I missed it completely.
Good braking point there. I take that one in third.
Okay.
That's really up to you, but I think the downshifting kind of slows you down a little bit.
Okay. You said fourth, yeah. I missed it completely.
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if the Ferrari can do it or not. I haven't driven the Ferrari yet, so.
Yeah, I think it's perhaps lower bread. A little bit of pressure.
Yeah, and just be careful on the throttle through those corners. Like, if you just go half throttle through some of it, that'll be better than, like, going on and off.
Yeah.
Welcome, viewers. Going over stuff with Harvey here. Just kind of watching his laps. Looking at what we can look at. Nice braking into there.
I always chip the inside of that.
It's hard. There's not really a good reference point to use, so.
Let's try turning latest.
There you go.
Pull the curb on the left and the swing right, go flat, right?
Yeah, take all the curb on the left and then just go right to the curb. Close. That was close. Usually what happens is, so if we go to your replay, let's see. Oh, can I not do that? Oh wait, I can't do that.
6, what do you want me to see?
What car number are you?
166. No, I'm sorry. It's a great question. Car 50.
Car 50, okay.
Sorry.
Here, let me, I'm gonna go on Discord to the voice chat, or the race chat, and share my screen here.
Okay, there we go. That's cool. That's cool. What I really struggle with, I'm racing now with you. What's this view called? Dashboard view? I guess it is. Cockpit view, whatever you call this. Ordinarily, I've switched back to bonnet view because I simply cannot
Oh, okay.
get a grip on anything. I'm so struggling with the dashboard view. I'll be trying
If you're used to hood view, it's very disorienting to go from one to the other.
No, I'm not used to anything. This is my point. I've been running dashboard view forever, and I switched in the last race to bonnet view. Much better performance. Much better performance. But I just felt, what's the word? Dirty.
Yeah, that's fair.
For lack of a better expression. And I.
Right, let's see if this is working. Discord is moving very slow. My whole computer is moving very slow right now. Try it. Can you hear me? Alright, there we go. Is this working? Can you hear me? Hang on, I can't hear you. I'm going to join back in. Hang on. Alright, I'm back here. Now I can hear you. Okay. My computer's struggling because I'm trying to share two ways, basically, because I'm live streaming. So, let me see if this will work. I'll try it again. Alright, there we go. Now I can hear you. Alright. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can, sir.
Okay. So you've got a little bit of room on the outside there.
Yeah.
Actually, let's go this camera. Alright, we'll go with that camera. But good braking in a straight line. Like I said, you can use all of this. So if you nail your braking zone and you nail your turn in, you should be kind of on the green.
Yeah.
That's the right turn in point though.
Which would suggest in this particular case, I didn't put enough brake force in because I couldn't turn any more.
Right, so you needed to slow down just a tad bit more, just a little more trail braking in, and you would have had it. And then on the exit, you probably could have gotten on throttle a little sooner because you left some space on the outside.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Hello?
What's up, guys? We're doing one-on-one coachings.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Right.
Alright, so your line through here, this was the one where you crashed, but that's what I want to look at.
Yes.
So, perfect there. That's exactly how much you want to take. I think the key is that you turned in too soon. Yes, you turned in too soon and you took way too much of that inside curb there. So see how the car bounces?
Yeah, yeah.
That's where you lose it.
Got it.
So if you come in,
Turn later now.
I would say you want to turn maybe here, about halfway between the curbs. So if we're looking at it,
Got it.
from this curb to that curb, you want to be right about in the middle, right after where the tire marks start to rubber in.
Yes, I think I know what you're talking
And if you see where you turn in, you're already in here.
Yeah.
The goal is to be right where you're at. You want to have your right tires on the flat portion.
Yes, not on the curb bit at the top.
Not on the raised curb. Because the suspension's already doing as much as it possibly can to get you up that hill with all the compression. As soon as you add in the curb, it's completely bottoming out and you're bouncing. So right here, as soon as you get off the curb, there's a bounce, there's a bounce, there's a bounce. Yeah. And then it's gone. Whereas if we look at the lap before,
where I lifted, I believe.
now there you probably braked too early.
Yes, I was over slowed.
Because you're already off brake there. We'll pull the hood up. Yeah, you're already off the brake there. Full brake, full brake, full brake. Trailing off, and you're off. Now, if you trailed in, that would work, but that was a pretty good line there. But if you had trailed in, you probably could have gotten more rotation on it, and you would have been able to get a better exit.
Yeah, for sure.
So now we go to the hill. So now you don't take nearly as much on the curb. Which means you have to lift to get to the inside, and even there you're probably a little off on the inside. You still made it work. And right about here, you can straight line it from here. As long as you've got a tire on the red and white, on the red and yellow, as you come over the hill, you can cut that way more than you think you can. So right here, you're still turning to the right a little bit.
Yeah.
So you can straighten out the wheel and get a little tiny bit more speed out of there.
Yeah, more to the left, basically.
Yeah.
Got it.
Alright, so let's look at the rest of this lap here. Good braking point. Same deal, you probably turned in a little early. Your braking point was right. We'll go half speed. That's right about where the curb starts. But you're already turning in at this point. So if you wait to turn in until you get all the way to the end of the braking zone, you'll have a much better exit out of this corner. And this whole section is all about your exits. Because you want to set up for the next corner.
Yeah, it's a common Achilles heel here, where I take everything too shallow.
Yeah, and especially on a track like this where every corner leads into the next corner, you lose some time. Because where you really want to be is middle of the track here. Okay. So we go through here. This was good. That's good. Good line through there. You hesitated on the throttle, and you probably could have just floored it.
Mm.
Car probably would have held,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
could drive it all the way out. But that's okay. I don't take as much curb there. That's really personal preference, but I don't think you need to be that far out. But that's a fine line through there. Tried to take it with fourth. I don't know if the car can do it, so because it didn't seem to rotate for you at all.
No, yeah, fourth doesn't work for me.
Yeah, so
I've got
it
the
might
third.
it might rotate more in third. That might be
Yeah.
why.
Seems to.
Pretty good braking point. Now you can tell that you got off the brakes a little early because you got on throttle before the apex.
Yeah.
So you're on the brakes, on the brakes, on the brakes. You're off brake. You're back on throttle,
Yeah.
and then you're off throttle again. So what I would suggest is, especially through these two corners, because they're pretty slick. It's kind of hard to keep the back end planted through here. At least in the Porsche, I know that I'm using some amount of throttle the entire way through these two corners. So you had the right idea getting on throttle early, but don't go full throttle and then come off. Go like 30, 40%. Just give it a little bit so that you can maintain it through the corner. Then when you get to mid-corner, get back on it. That's a pretty good line through there, though. Good exit. That sets you up for your next corner. Same deal. See, you're like half throttle. That works. It bobbled a little bit on you, which is normal. It was a good save. Good braking point. Turned in a little early. You can do that here. The Ferrari kind of eats the curb anyway. But and that I don't think you needed to lift. Yeah, it would have held if you had kept it planted.
Yeah.
You nailed the turn-in point, so because you nailed the turn-in point, you didn't need to lift. I think sometimes you lift because you're not sure about your turn-in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Lack of courage, I guess.
Yeah. So hey, sometimes it's lack of practice. It's lack of getting to know what you can and can't do. That's all.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. So this I think you nailed, if I remember correctly. Pretty good braking point. Let's see where you come off the brakes. Trail in. Yep. Just give it a little bit. Perfect apex there.
I think I clipped the inside again. Yeah, there you go.
Pretty good though. That's pretty solid. You probably could have gotten on throttle even earlier.
Usual thing, lack of courage.
Yeah, but that was like half a tenth. Like that was pretty much picture perfect to the bus stop there, which is not easy to do it. I think the bus stop's really tough.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay.
Is there anything else you want to look at?
No, I'm just gonna keep bashing away, see how far I can.
Do you want me to jump in the Ferrari and do a lap?
That'll be awesome, I think.
All right. Let me see if I can find.
Bring up the Fezzer, give it a go.
I don't think I have the setups. I gotta download the setups.
Should I send you my setup? It's just a Go setup that I tweaked. Maybe.
I have the Go setup subscription, so I should be able to download it.
One thing I did do with it, Michael, it was the brake bias was set to 59, and I really struggled. I don't know why, but I don't have much skill. So I took it down to 56, but then I increased the ABS from 2 to 4. And
It only runs 2 ABS in the setup? That's pretty low.
yeah, so I made it 4, but I bought a brake bias down to 56. Then I increased the front bump stop range 1 click on the front, just to help with rotation. I just felt a little understeering, and it
Okay.
seems solid. Who knows?
Yeah, let me just get the setup extracted here. Come on, computer. There we go. All right. Oh crap! I just rejoined the server with the 992. Damn it! I knew I was going to do that.
Hey, Pat.
Yes.
Almost done, buddy. And it'll be your turn, my good friend.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to drive that comic racing car because that thing is beautiful.
Is indeed, sir.
You know what? I probably shouldn't do that just in case he wants to actually race. Don't want to screw that up.
I'm actually going to switch to the in-game view. Stop this stream.
Did you adjust the tire pressures at all on this thing, or are they good?
They were fine for me, but then again, what do I know?
Do you know where they're at hot after a lap?
I'm sorry. I honestly,
New fastest
Okay.
lap for White,
Well, we'll take it out.
219.91.
I just know on the 992, the setup, because it's a hot track, the pressures were a little high, but all right, let's give this a try.
The pit exit's clear. We need to get some heat into these brakes.
You're still seeing everything, right?
yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm watching you in-game. Late turning to return.
The turbo lag's a thing. Jeez.
Yeah. Sounds like the Ferrari.
Michael, I saw in the Go video for this lap, for the Ferrari, they take TC3 only after the bus stop, and coming up after the Eau Rouge, they change to TC6.
Okay.
Yes.
Why does the setup have no fuel in it? Just realized the setup had no fuel in it.
Serious.
It had 2 liters of fuel, so I ran out before I even got on the back straight. Alrighty. That's a little odd.
No worries, buddy.
Let's resave that and let's go back out. Okay. That's pretty funny. TC6.
Looks like you're clear on the pit exit.
It's the base. That's pretty high. But I'm just going to drive it as is.
Yeah, they only use TC3 for the bus stop and after a rush. And the rest of the track is TC6. Well, at least from the video.
I'm going to see what it feels like with 3 all the way around.
3. Was that 4?
TC. Whoa, okay.
The car ahead has just done a 221.30.
Oh my god, yeah, it definitely needs TC6.
Yellow flag. Incident clear. Back to green flag.
Okay, my tires are going to be a little overinflated, but we'll do a lap here.
Your last.
Oh, this thing wants to kill you.
Yep, yep. That's
Yeah.
the lift.
Yep. That thing wants to kill you.
Yellow flag.
100%.
No worries, buddy. Appreciate your time today.
Yeah, man. If you have any other
Thank you,
questions,
man.
just let me know.
Yeah. Thank you. I think Pat's here now, aren't you, Pat? Pat, are you here?
Yep.
Okay, buddy.
What's up,
Over
bud?
to you, buddy.
What is going on?
All right. Do you want... You're on the track? Cool.
Yep.
I will just watch you. No pressure. Okay. Alright, you're in the 992. I feel more confident
Yeah.
in the 992.
Yeah. How you liking it?
I love the thing. It's just, it's not a great race car right now with the tire wear, but
Whoop. That ain't the line.
take more on the left on the way in, and you'll have a better line to the right.
Gotcha.
You could probably carry a little more speed into there. It's definitely a dance through there.
Yeah. This doesn't feel like it has like the rear grip that the old Porsche did.
Nothing does, unfortunately. And I would use a little bit more of the outside of the track there when you're turning.
Okay.
Good line through there, though.
Yeah, I need to get more consistent on that one.
Puhan's tough. I take these in third,
Okay.
but that's totally personal preference. And I take that one in second.
I think like 120 flat is my PB so far. Whoops.
And I always tell people, like, Spa is one of those tracks, because it's such a long lap, you can find a lot of time by only finding a tenth in every corner. It doesn't take much.
And you said not to up shift to fifth there.
It doesn't matter where you shift into. You're probably braking a little late.
I think that's a common theme for me.
It's better to brake late than brake early. There you go.
That was better.
And you could cut more off the top of the hill there. You can cut, like, to the left more.
Yeah. I cut it earlier and I had just one tire on the white line and it counted it. I was like, holy crap.
Same deal. You probably came in there just a little too deep.
To get squirrely.
What setup are you running? Are you running the Go setup?
Yeah, the e-race setup.
The race setup? Okay. So if you're running the race setup, I would say your lap times, like, at least in... I'm running low 17s in quali trim. So I would probably be in the mid 18s. So you're not that far off. Good line through there. Good through there too, yep. Yep.
That was better.
Your line in the second corner didn't set you up well for the third. That was the problem there. And you got on the brake a little late there, which is what caused that snap. You you got Puhan down to a science.
Yeah, that seems to be in the groove right now.
And if you avoid the raised part of that curve, that won't happen.
Gotcha. Man, still second off my pace, or what I've done.
Alright, so do another one lap and then we'll look at the replay. Pretty good through there. Yeah, pretty good line. You got like the 2 hardest corners in the track good, so.
Funny how that works.
Much better through there. I think you were a little deep on the brakes there. And that's the corner where that inside curb, you either have to take all of it or none of it. Because if you do what you did, it bounces too much. And I would turn in a little later there. That'll get you a better exit for this corner.
Alright.
What's your PB?
220 flat.
Okay.
And I got the replay that I did it on.
Oh, you're deep. Oh, you're real deep.
Way deep.
It's alright.
Alright.
Alright, let's look at the replay of that lap up until the bus stop there. What car number are you?
986.
Alright. I am sharing. You can see my screen on Discord,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Watching.
Okay. So pretty good braking point. Maybe a little deep because you missed the apex by a little bit, but that's alright. You made it work. Pretty good trail braking. You could take a little more of this inside if you need to.
Okay.
And you probably got on throttle a little early, that's why it slid a little bit. I think what it was, if we go back here, if you watch your HUD, you went straight to full throttle real quick. So if you just feather that in a little slower, you won't get that slide and you'll get a good exit the whole way out. Your Rouge line is pretty good. Yep, that's pretty solid. Maybe, like right here, you could straight line it, and you're going maybe a little still to the right, but the car's bouncing around, so it's not that big of a deal. That's pretty clean. Pretty good braking point.
Take a little bit of this.
Yep, that's a good way to do it. That was perfect. Sets you up good for this corner. Take a little bit of the green. Yep. That was perfect through there. Now, I would say you'd want to continue that line to the left just a little bit. Yeah. Because that was perfect through there. If you just continue on right here, it'll put you over here. Yep. And that would make this a lot easier. Because then you would have hit your apex. So you missed your apex here a little bit, and then it slides on you because you got on throttle a little too early.
And full, I'm guessing.
Yeah, yeah. This looks pretty good, if I remember correctly. You were a little deep. So let's go back and see. Yeah, it probably braked a little later than you needed to, so it didn't slow down quite as much as it needed to. That works through there. Not bad through there. That's the key right there. So I'll slow it down. You could use a little more on the outside if you need to.
Okay.
But right here, either get on the green. That way when you come off of it, it only bounces when you're straight lining it, or don't touch the curb at all. Right now, the way you do it, you're up here late, it comes down and it bounces on you, and that's where you have to catch it.
Gotcha.
Good brake point, good turn-in point. Alright, so why did it do that on you? Let's see. Maybe because you took the curb. I try not to touch it. Yeah, probably. Because you're full throttle the whole way. If you can, you just want to kiss it. You don't want to be up it. Let's look at your throttle input. Because that might show. So you're off throttle, then you're back on. Yeah, but you're full on the whole way. Yeah, it's just the bounce from the curb that's causing that. Good braking point, good turn in. Yep, that's a perfect line. Yep, that's good. Could use a little more outside if you need to.
Alright.
And then you could turn in later with that. Get through there. And then we missed the bus stop. Let's look at the bus stop on this lap. Good brake point. Now the only thing I would say is you missed. I would say you braked a little early, only because right now you're full on brakes. Here, let's go back to where you started braking. So you started braking right about here. You can brake, I would say, just past the 150. I kind of use, when we're on an optimal track, I use the dark space, the rubbered in part, as a marker of like I should be braking just before it.
Okay.
So somewhere in that middle position between that shadow that's coming off from the orange section here and the rubbered part, you want to be braking somewhere in there. And you can tell that you braked a little early because you're full brake here, still full brake. You come off, and then you get back on it, and then you come off. But you did nail the apex the way you need to. What I would suggest is when you come off the apex like that, so you probably turned in a little early, but you had the rotation. continue going to the right and put your car here, like half a car width to your right.
To the right, yeah.
That way you get a much better entry into the second half of the chicane here. Because right here, you're kind of tight in, and you can't get on throttle until you're already almost out of the corner. Because if we look at your throttle, you're on throttle, you're on throttle there, that works. Then you're off, and you're doing like half throttle up until right there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you take that mid line, you can get on throttle right at the apex and power it out the whole way. You probably pick up a tenth or two right there, and that's just one corner.
It always feels like it's always bogged down coming out of that.
Are you taking it in second or first?
First.
Yeah, I take it in first. It feels like sometimes you just need to carry a little more speed into the entry and give it a dab of the brake. And then when you get on the throttle earlier, it won't feel so bogged down.
Gotcha.
Is there another spot you want to look at?
No.
Do you want to see me do a lap?
Yes, but at some point I'd also like to look at, or if you can do a little thing on the Motec data.
Yeah, I can jump on Motec. Yeah.
I don't know anything about that stuff.
All right, so do you have? Let's do this. Do you have? Find me a Motec file for like your. If you quit out of this session, it should make a Motec file. Send me that file in a PM.
Okay.
And I think you'll need to send. There's a. I think it's.
Yeah, you need to send the
both.
ID and IDX file.
It's both of them. Yeah, it's the X and the non-X.
Make sure they have matching file names, because every time you open the file in Motec, the IDX file, the date of creation updates, so it can mess up the order in the folder.
Pat, if you're confused, I'll show you what I'm looking at here.
Right. Yeah, I see. All right, I see the two files. Let me find Discord. All right, I sent those to you.
Okay. Whoops. Okay. All right, let's go back into the stream here. Share your screen. Screen 1, go live. Motec. And I think I know which one that I did. I have a 17.1 from earlier that we can compare off of. Obviously, that's like a hot lap, but.
Right. How could I? What's the easiest way to find the lap that I did the 220 flat on?
You want to know when? Like,
I know when it was.
Date and time.
I know the date and time, but there's like 6 like pairs of these things that are all around the same time. There's like I have a 449, 450, 452, 454.
So let's look at. So I usually just because there's really no way to know. I just open them up. Once you open them up once, it'll show you your best lap time on the summary. So
Okay.
Can you see my Motec screen right now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm in my Motec file. Here's all of my Motec data. The one that I used earlier was this. So because I've opened it, it shows me my fastest time.
Gotcha. So can I just send you like all 6 of these files, and then you can throw them in, and you can probably find it way faster than I would?
Yeah, that's fine. Let me see here. I'll pull up the one you sent me though. Downloads. Oh, it's not even in a folder. How am I going to find it if it's not in a folder? Oh, I'm going to go here. Here we go. That should be it. 513. Yep. So that lap was a 220.7. If you want to send me another one though, I will look. Alright, so I'm looking at this 220.7. So have you done anything in Motec?
Nope.
Okay. So here, I'll show you how to open these then. Let's close these. I will just close Motec and restart it. So, alright, so there's a walkthrough somewhere in our Discord
Okay.
of how to download the workspace that I'm using. The workspace that I'm using makes it a
ACC
lot.
thing.
It's the ACC Quitch.
Okay.
Quitch one? Well, yeah, whatever that one is. The base one is what like ACC gives you as an idea from their website. But I like the Quitch one a lot more. So you open that up. This is your base level. This is what it shows you. So it doesn't have any data loaded. So we're gonna, if you don't see data here, you're gonna go to View and Show Data, because sometimes it opens up like this, or just like this. So we're just gonna show track, and then we're gonna show data. So we're gonna open up data from here, a log file. Here's all of your files. So let's just click through and see which one is which. So that's got a 20.3.
Mm-hmm.
Let's open another one. That's got a 20.3. That's the same.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
wonder.
same.
All right.
And then let's look at this one. 20.7, so that's the most recent one. We'll close that one. What's this one? That one didn't have any data on it. So let's go off to 20.3. That's pretty close to your PB.
Yep.
So that opens your lap. So this shows you your speed throughout the lap. You can see your steering angle, your brake, throttle input, gear on the left, and then the track map. The heat map is based on speed. So not super helpful, but if you zoom in, it can be helpful on like corner exits and such. So I'm going to open up my lap. I'm going to go to Documents, Competizione, Motec. Mine was the 4.6. Alright, so I'm going to make my lap. So this first little circle here makes it a blue line. And then if you want to compare, you click one of these squares.
Cool.
So you can compare. So I like to do the two different colors because I think that's a little easier to see than the black is.
Uh-huh.
So my lap is blue, your lap is green. So we can see pretty similar through Rouge on speeds. We can also change this to time. Let me see. Here we go. that changes it to time. So you can see that, and what we can do is we can double click and highlight a certain corner. So now we are just looking at La Source. So we're pretty much identical on the way in. Our two cars are here, so I'm the red, you're the green.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much identical through the middle of the corner. I am trail braking. Why is your brake not... That's weird. You see that?
I see that it's different than you.
Oh, okay. So it's showing... So you're getting on the brake a little earlier, but I'm getting on full quicker. We're braking in. Braking. I'm trailing. And you're coming right off. And then you gave it a little more dab. And then you're off. So you're actually carrying more speed. It's right here. You can see that right here. You're carrying more speed into the apex. But right at the apex, I'm carrying more speed out. And that's where this graph up here is looking at speed over the course of the time of the lap. So I'm carrying less speed on the way in, but more speed on the way out.
Gotcha.
So, and it's really because you're coming off the brake and coasting. Well, yeah, I'm trail braking the whole way. You got off the brake and then gave it one more stab to get it to turn. And then I got on throttle much earlier. So right here, we're both coasting at the middle of the corner. We're in the transition. I'm getting on throttle, and then you're getting on throttle. So even just, and then you gave it a little bit of a pedal, and then you went full, and then I went full. So I got a cleaner exit and carried more speed on the way out.
Got it.
Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Now how do we zoom back out? So we've got zooms here, so we can horizontal zoom into the lap.
Mm-hmm.
So because I carried more speed out, I've got more speed all the way down the hill into Eau Rouge. This is through Eau Rouge. If we look at this, this is Eau Rouge. Coming out, we're almost identical through there. I'm carrying a little bit more speed, but like the tiniest bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we're pretty much even all the way down the straight. Now we keep moving. Alright, I need to see the rest of the lap. Come on. Why are you doing this? Come over here. Moving this thing around is a pain in the butt. I'm just going to do this. Boom. Okay. So if we look at the braking points here, coming out of the main straight, this is this whole section here. There's a huge amount of time. So I brake much earlier. That's quite a bit of time that I'm braking earlier. Yeah, that's meters. That's time. So I'm getting on brake earlier. You're still on brake, and then you're coming off. By the time you're off brake, I'm already on throttle. So it's a matter of where we're picking up the time. So you're carrying, at sometimes you've got, that's almost 30 kph you've got on me in the braking zone. But at the apex, you can see where my line goes larger. I'm carrying more speed on the way out into the first corner. Same thing, I turn in earlier. I get a better exit out of 2. and then same thing. I get a better exit out of 3, and I get a much better line out of 3 because look at the time difference, the speed difference there.
And this is going down that hill to
This is
right-hander.
this is the right-hander that you're taking in third gear, coming out of that twisty bit at the end of the straight.
Yep.
So that's a corner I would say to focus on because we're pretty even through here. It looks like you either had a bobble or you didn't get the right line on the entry, which meant that you had to slow down and then get back on throttle. And that little lift of the throttle is a huge amount of speed that you lose going down that straight, coming into the hairpin. All right, now we can look at the rest of the lap. So once again, these points here are where we're braking. So I'm braking earlier.
Common theme.
It's just, and if you look at, look at the graph from here on out. Every braking zone, I'm consistently getting on earlier, and then I'm carrying a ton of more speed out on pretty much every corner here. So here, 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 here. So we can look at the lap. So going into the hairpin, I'm braking earlier. You're carrying more speed through the middle of the corner, and then I'm accelerating out and taking a bunch of speed down the straight. And then same thing here. I am not slowing down as much, so you can see that my graph at this point here is not quite as low. And then I'm carrying more speed out. And same thing here. I'm carrying more speed right at this point here. Not by much, but a little bit more than you are here. And then I'm accelerating out higher. So what I would say, you just look at this graph as a general thing. I would say your main focus should be trying to brake a little earlier and trail brake in and get the best exit line you possibly can. Get on the throttle as soon as you can. And it's tough with the Porsche because it likes to slide. Especially on the exits on a lot of these corners, it likes to step out. So you just work on your throttle application on the way out of corners, and you'll start to pick up that time, and you'll pick up that speed on the way out.
Cool. That's super helpful.
And
I think my time is up.
And if we look at that, that's like, again, you're also on a race setup. You've got a full tank of fuel. I'm on 15 liters, so it's a big difference. But you've probably got a second and a half through that sector too, all through here.
Okay.
Through the twisty bits, where if you brake a little later and you brake a little earlier, yeah, you brake a little earlier and you get on the throttle a little bit earlier, it'll do you a world of good.
Awesome.
Motec's fun, man. Motec is a whole different world.
Yeah, I'll have to bug you and try and get this, or if I can't figure out how to set it up, or I'll find that video and go through that.
See if you can get it set up. If you can't, just shoot me a PM and I'll find. I know there's a walkthrough somewhere that helped me set it up. So
cool. Thanks a bunch, Michael. I appreciate
no problem.
I think Curtis is up next.
What's up, Curtis?
Hello, I'm here.
Are you in a server right now?
No, I just hopped on. I don't even have my headset on.
Okay.
I didn't know what kind of format you wanted to do.
It's totally up to you. It's whatever you want to do. So if you've got a replay you want me to look at, if you want to go through Motec, if you want to just see me do a hot lap, whatever you want to do.
While you were doing the Motec with Pat, I was watching, and I'm like, oh, let me dig up the Motec for my PB, and I'm like, oh, I don't have the Motec saved because I did it off of a one of the regular aggressive setup that I was tweaking and didn't have the telemetry lap set.
Okay.
So really, let me swap headsets and put on my VR. My biggest issue I have is coming up to the chicane after the long straight.
Okay. The long straight, the front straight coming out of Eau Rouge or the bus stop?
The front straight coming out of Eau Rouge.
Okay. The left, right, left, or I'm sorry.
Right, left.
The right, left, right.
And it's not even.
What car are
It's
you in?
really just the Porsche.
Okay.
It is really the entrance of the first right. The car just wants to over rotate at times.
Yeah.
And I'll do what feels like the same exact thing 2 laps in a row. In 1 lap, it will be fine, and it'll let me carry through.
It's just
And
just
another lap,
Porsche
it
things.
just wants to
Just
it
Porsche
wants to
things.
rotate me into the wall, and I'm like, that's not where I want to go.
That's just Porsche things. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Sometimes like 1% more brake or 1% less brake will like throw the thing into the damn wall. So. Do you happen to have before you load into VR, because that might be a pain in the ass for you? Do you have a replay saved
yeah. Not of that happening. Just I had a
of a
what I
decent
thought
lap?
was a good lap. Yeah,
Okay.
I think. I mean,
Just send me that replay file. Just PM it to
Alright.
me. That way I can pull it up.
Let me back out of ACC. Yes, I want to.
Because I
Want to
figured
leave the replay.
that's easier than getting you in VR and having to look at it in VR. I have an Oculus and I've tried. I'm so much slower.
I've got an HP G2, and
Nice.
It's funny. I'm never going back to triple screens, and then every endurance event, I'm like, man, I just need to
Yeah.
get a triple
It's
setup.
tough. It's tough for a long amount of time like that.
Yeah, having headset on for 6 hours is just like, man, this
Yeah.
is like
Nauseating.
big spot on my forehead from where the one band
so like
sits.
I wear glasses, so and I don't wear contacts. I just don't have contacts. So even doing like more than half an hour, I start to get sweaty, and then I start to fog, and I have to I can't do it.
Yeah, my biggest thing has been getting in there, and like I don't have glasses or anything, but getting my room set up. I've got a fan at my feet blowing at my body, and then I've got a desk fan on the desk next to me just blowing on my head, and the whole rig is set underneath my air conditioner, and my rig's in the garage, so the whole thing is based on cooling.
Ah, okay.
Here. Why can I not message you?
Is it too big of a file?
No, I just right-clicked and message. It's not where
okay.
I thought it would be. And the file size should be okay. This is only it's not a PB, it's just a decent lap.
Okay.
It was literally me setting up my tire pressures for my quality setup. I will give the Porsche this. I hadn't been able to break 20 in either the Lexus or the Aston, and wound up hitting 219s with a qualifying fuel load. It's also something I don't typically do. I typically don't drive with low fuel load.
All right, let's try this. Let's hope this works. I think it worked.
Yeah, 11.
Okay, yeah.
11:20.
Yep. All right, you can see all this.
Yep. I think it'll be the last lap is the one I hit a 219 on. It's so weird not having the sound.
All right, let's see here. Pretty good braking point, maybe a little early, but kind of trail in. Yep, get through there. Probably could have gotten on throttle a little earlier, but that works. Good line though.
This car still scares me. Versus coming out of the front engine cars,
If it doesn't scare you, it's not fast enough. What's the Mario Andretti quote? If it feels under control, it's probably too slow.
yeah.
Beautiful through there. Whoa, you took a lot of curb there. Okay, so it clearly wasn't this lap.
Well, I guess it was the lap before.
Yeah.
That's how I hit 219. I just cut over. Just leave it.
We left a little bit on the inside, but that worked. Alright, so what I would say is, on this one, you were probably a little too far to the left. So, you came in good through there. And I think maybe you waited a little bit too long to get to the right. I saw you give it a little bit of a lift. You can hold it flat. The 992 can do it. So
Yeah, I've done it with a full fuel load. Just kind of finding a rhythm of.
It's tough. Oh, are you on a full fuel load on this one?
No, this is a quality fuel load.
Okay, all right, yeah.
This is me setting up my qualifying.
Yeah, it definitely can do it flat. So right there, you lifted like 20%, not even, just a little tiny bit. And you're not far off the apex here, but the difference in that, like, what is that, 2 or 3 feet, is that it pushes you out here, and right here, you could straight line it, but you're still turning right. Because the car is kind of like drifting that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you were a little closer on the inside here, you'd be able to just go straight through. Right now, you're still kind of drifting to the right, and the car is pushing you. And then it bounces like hell. I'm impressed that you held on to it there. Because at full speed, that was like killer.
Didn't feel that bad.
It's just funny, you look at it, oh, okay, maybe not 2-speed. But when you look at it at normal speed, it's like, the bounce is crazy. Boink! Alright.
Here's where all the problems come in.
So this section is, I don't know how to explain it. In the 992, you need to dance through it. It's like tippy toes. You're modulating the throttle. I'm almost never full throttle through any of it until I get to all the way out of it. It's very, very careful throttle application.
Are you ever fully off the throttle once you start to turn in?
Not really. No,
Okay.
I'm giving it some sort of application just to keep it stable, because it's much like the 991 in that if you lift, it tends to snap.
That may be my problem.
So let's
Because
look.
sometimes I try to come at it off throttle, and then when it starts to over rotate, I give it some throttle, and it's
And it starts to
already-
catch, but
yeah, but
sometimes
it's already
it snaps.
pointed too far.
Yeah. So you probably could turn in a little later, but pretty good line through there. And pretty good line through there. I'd say you want to be a little further over to the left.
Yeah, it opens that up a lot more.
Open this up. But that's not bad. That was not a bad line through there. Let's see that at full speed.
But it's also one of my PB laps, so it's not the lap where I'm spinning into the wall.
Right. But it
I
still
was
looks...
telling,
it's
I was
under
telling
control,
Vera,
which is not easy.
I can get one good lap out of the Porsche on this track. I do 25 minutes, and then it's essentially at the 25-minute mark, I wind up just hitting the wall.
the way you throttled that was perfect. So you were like half throttle through most of the mid corner. That's exactly the way I do it.
I noticed in your video that you go down the first there.
That's really personal preference. I just feel like it rotates better in first, and then I kind of short shifted in a second on the way out. But that's totally up to you. You made the line work, so not a big deal. And it didn't slide out at you on the apex, so it works. That's a pretty good line through there. Yep, good exit. So the only thing there, that was perfect on your line. I would be a little careful. I don't even know if you know you're doing it. If you look, I know that the freaking HUD here gets in the way. Can you see your brake input?
Yeah, barely.
So you get off the brakes, and then here, see where you're just tapping it?
That must be residual foot resting on the brake pedal still.
Yeah, so just be aware of it, because if you do any more than that,
It's going to spin it.
It could really snap on you through there, because you're carrying so much speed through Puan that so just be aware of it. It's probably subconscious, and you nailed the line through there. You're like, that was perfect. It was just, that's something that I noticed. I was like, that's a little weird.
Yeah, definitely wasn't intending to add extra brakes.
Right,
there.
right. Through there. You could use a little more on the outside there on the left on your turn in, and that would probably help you hit the apex because you're a little tiny bit off.
I hate this house corner.
That was perfect. Right where you were at on the apex. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. That is the perfect position. It just hooks and goes. Let's see. Bus stop is always a pain in the butt. So you're kind of taking like a straight line to the apex. I would say stay over here on the white line and get the turn in done later. So instead of turning in here, you'd be out here, and you can kind of straight line the apex a little more.
Gotcha.
Good through there, though. And good positioning of the car for the next half, because that's where you want to exit anyway. Car stat for you, yeah. That's a pretty damn good lap. What is the time on it?
219's 9 or 7.
Okay, so
219.7 is my PB, and I think this was a 219.9.
that's the kind of lap that I would want to look at the Motec, because you've got 2 seconds off my PB, but I guarantee you it's like 2/10 around the entire track. It's not one glaring spot. Does that make sense?
I know where a good portion of that is down the Camel Straight. Is that the long one after Eau Rouge? Because I put your setup in after I saw your video, and I went in and did 4 invalid laps, 2 of which I ran into the wall. Because this is running with a 9 wing and a 66 rear ride height, and I think yours is a 6 wing, 65 rear ride height.
Oh, that'll do it.
And yeah, because I noticed.
So you probably got two or 3 tenths down the straight then. Yeah.
Yeah, I was 4/10 up on my PB by the time I hit the braking zone of
Wow.
going into Lake Home.
Wow.
And I was like, oh wow, this is gonna be a good lap, and then it over rotated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah,
There's a fine line. Yeah. The Go setup that I've been running lately has 7, I believe. And I had to give it some serious tweaks to get it to be stable. I didn't touch the wing. I touched everything but the wing, basically. My setup that I did for that video, I felt like it was really stable, but it's probably got some time in it. So I don't know if you've tried the Go setup. If you want it, just let me know. I can send it to you. But it's not easy to drive the Go setup. That's all I will say.
It is very not easy to drive.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, same.
I'm driving it right now.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this
Yeah.
thing is a handful.
yeah.
I took their base setup and I started modifying off of that at first. I'm like, wow, this is garbage. I'm just going back to the regular aggressive setup.
So I can tell you, your Eau Rouge here, like we talked about, because you missed that inside, and you scrub some speed off there, and you bounce around, you're probably losing a tenth just there. And those are the little margins that if you can pick up a tenth on every corner, you found over a second. You'll find like a second and a half. So you've got a pretty good lap. It's a matter of little details. And that's when I would start to dig into the Motec and say, okay, let's dig in corner by corner and say, all right, maybe I braked a slight bit later and that gained me a tenth, and then I got the same exit speed as you did, so do a little more trail braking, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that that's a majority of your time, because this is a good line, that's a good line. You maybe left half a tenth coming out here.
My biggest thing is I can't do that, 25 laps in a row.
Well, so if we're looking at a hot lap versus a hot lap, that's one thing. I would suggest, at least what I do for races, the fact that we do hour-long races, it's all about consistency and just staying clean. So don't ever feel like you need to drive at 100% every lap. You're not going to be doing qualifying laps the whole time. I don't think there's a single person who can, maybe Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen can do it, but even they are saving fuel and saving tires and not driving 100% every lap for their races. So you kind of have to. Do you have enough time during the week, like before the race day, to do a race stint?
So now I do, or I've done it this past week because I've been on vacation this week.
Okay.
But I'll try to occasionally just hop in.
Or
do
even
like
if
an
you
hour
do,
straight.
even if you do half an hour, if you do half a race stint, that way you get a feel for where the tires are going to be at halfway through the race, and you just get a feel for how the car feels on a full tank of fuel, because that first half, the way the car is going to feel like a boat. If you
I mainly practice with full fuel.
Okay.
So like I'll run stints of 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes at full fuel. And so I've always been happier with that than qualifying trim, taking all the fuel out. The car always feels weird. They're like, oh, you can brake later because the car's lighter. It's like I just don't feel like braking at that point. It's comfortable.
Right. So, and that's a totally personal preference, but I usually do it the other way around. So I will hot lap, and then when I know I'm going to do the race stint, I load up the race set and I do a full hour, and I purposely drive at like 95%, just so that I know that I'm consistent for a race stint. And that way I also know that I'm not screwing my qualifying pace. Because I don't know about you, but if I drive the race set and then I jump right back into a qualifying trim, I'm immediately like half a second slower than I should be. And I think it's just because I'm still in the mindset of where my braking points are and where my throttle application points are on the full fuel,
Yep.
And it's hard to make that switch immediately. I feel like I need a couple laps to get into the swing of it.
Yeah, so, we'll have 10 minutes for qualifying. You don't have that kind of time.
Exactly. I mean,
especially around here, we're gonna get 3, maybe 4 good
maybe 3 laps. Yeah. So, and some people can. Some people can turn it on and off, and more power to them. But I can't. So, if you feel like you want to qualify better, it's also what you want to do. If you feel like you want to qualify better, then focus on your hot lap stint, and then purposely drive at 95% through the race. And
I just feel like with the Porsche, like coming out of the Lexus, where everything was, I was very lazy with it. The driving that car comes more natural.
How did you drive that thing? I hate that thing. God.
I love that car.
Oh man, it's such a love-hate car.
I wouldn't even have to practice. It'd be like, okay, let me set my tire pressures. Okay, good, my tire pressures are set. Great. And then I just would hop in and, granted, I'm finishing 20th or 15th. But coming in, I was much better. I felt more comfortable driving that car. With this car, if I feel like if I fall off 100%, I feel like the car wants to kill. And then I feel like if I make any mistake at 100%, the car wants to kill.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong. That's kind of the way the car is.
Like trying to back off coming into like home, it feels like, oh, now it's gonna over rotate on me. Or it does that weird, like it gives me like no feedback of, it's like, okay, we're hooked up now, or okay, the car is settling, or the car is starting to slide. It just like it gives me no feedback when I back off.
So, I would suggest that's some of those points are where you need to be on throttle at like 10%. Because I agree with you, sometimes when you're coasting in this car, it feels like nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden you get back on an input, whether it's brake or gas, and it does something you don't expect it to do.
Yeah.
So try to just, and you're doing a pretty good job of it through this lap, but I would say just try to keep in your mind, I'm going to be on throttle at all times that I'm not on brake. Doesn't have to be full throttle, it just has to be some sort of input.
I mean, that's the optimal way to drive. If you're not braking, you're on the throttle.
Some cars, like the Ferrari likes to coast, so sometimes you're better off coasting into an apex and getting a better exit. But yeah, generally try to keep some sort of throttle on it. The Porsche loves to have some sort of throttle on it.
You can watch the cutovers again.
Well, I think it's funny because like you look at this, and I think you just turned in too early, but like you nailed the left side. That was perfect. If you just turned in a second later, you would have been golden. But it was totally compressed out.
We say hit the wall though.
I mean, like look at the compression when you hit the curb. That thing's bouncing. Yeah, that's an optimal line, that's for sure. Yeah, so I would say you've got the lap clean, and you've got it with pretty decent pace.
Need the consistency.
And it's not even just consistency, it's for your quality lap. Try to think about each corner as its own separate thing. And if you can find a 10th in every braking zone, and then you can find a 10th in every exit, you're gonna find a lot of time very quickly. So think about it in small sectors. Don't think about the whole lap and think, oh, I need to find a second. It's half a 10th in every corner on the track.
That's not what Jim tells me. Jim tells me I'm 2.5 seconds down to sector 2.
Don't listen to Jim.
Hey, Jim, I know that I'm 2.5 seconds down.
Jim's a dickhead. Don't listen to Jim.
Jim's a dick. 2 seconds off, sector 2.
I finished 5th in a race that I qualified 13th for. He's like, oh, you did your best. Bring it home. I'm like, look, I'm ecstatic about this result, Jim.
Man, I can relate to that.
It was even worse last night running multi-class because during the practice it didn't like differentiate between GT3 and GT4. It's like you're 3.5 seconds down in sector 1. I'm like, who is driving this fast in sector 1? And then I realized that they're not talking about the GT4s.
Wait, shit. Yeah. The car with twice as much aero is quite a bit quicker.
Shocking. Shocked Pikachu face. Who's next up on the docket tonight?
Hello.
I think Pravin is. What's up, bud?
I am the person who's next.
Alright, so I will leave it up to you. How do you want to go about it? You want to go over a replay of a lap of yours? Do you want to go through Motec? What would you like to do?
Yeah, so I recorded a couple of hot laps earlier, like 2 hours ago, and I also got Motec for it, but I don't really know if it's going to be necessary because I'm slow enough, they can probably easily tell when I'm doing wrong.
Okay. Well, hey, let's look at the replay and then we'll spend some time if we need to.
Okay, I'll message the replay to you.
Yeah, just shoot me this file.
Let's see. So basically, it was a lot of bad invalidation laps, and then my last 3 laps were 3 clean laps, and the second lap is my personal best. All 3 were, I mean, it was pretty inconsistent. Like the third to last was I had the fastest sector, and I had the third fastest sector, then the second lap. Second last,
Okay.
it was the personal best, and also the second sector was my best, and then the last lap, my first sector was the best. But yeah.
So is life. It's just usually how it goes.
Yep.
I was practicing earlier, and I had a lap where I came out of La Source 2/10 up on a 17-1, and I was like, "This is it. This is it. I can break it in 16s. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it." And then I cut a rouge.
Oh.
It's like, God damn it. Okay, next time.
Rabbit, is this your 19.8 lap?
Yeah, second to last is 19.8. I'm also a Porsche driver in D6 Gold.
Yeah, so this should look very similar to my lap. I'm looking at your sectors on the leaderboard.
How is it? Wait, there's no way it's the same file. Oh, did I not download it? Am I dumb?
You know, in the
I'm
Porsche,
dumb.
it almost feels like the steering is merely a suggestion of where the car should go. It can decide whatever it wants.
That's because you're steering it with the throttle, not with the steering wheel.
I know.
The other 2 files are the Motec.
Yeah. All right, so let me get the replay loaded. I believe it's this one. Yeah. Okay. See if this works. You guys with your liveries are fantastic. That is just so badass.
Yeah, thank you to whoever did that at Ghost Riders
So good.
Racing. Yeah, so it's the last 3 full laps, I think.
Okay, so we'll start here-ish.
So actually, yeah, the lap. This is the first like valid lap that you're in right now.
Okay, so we'll start here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think both of the first 2 laps I got through a route successfully, but it was a little bit sketchy, so you'll see that.
Okay.
But, I mean, everything's really consistent.
Mr. Apex, but good line on the way in.
Yeah, you're gonna be seeing me with the lot of Apex.
So let's pull up the hood, because you got a little bit of wheel spin on the way out. So I'd say you gave it full beans just a little too early.
Okay. That's the thing with my driving. I feel like I'm oversteering through every corner into it and also out of it. This is totally a miss.
That's alright. You hit the exit and you hit it with enough speed that it's not a big deal, so. Okay, let's slow it down. Good line. Pretty good line. I would say. Now, what setup are you running?
So I'm actually running the Go Esports qualifying, but then I saw some comments made by you and I think Eric Boardman in the setup, like.
Yeah.
So I added 0.5 to what's it, camber? It was like whatever was native 0.4. I made that native 0.3, native 3.5. I
Okay.
increased the ride height and the rear to 65 millimeters to increase the rake.
Okay.
And there's like one other thing that I'm blanking out. Maybe toe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm mixing toe and camber.
Okay. It's pretty much what I did. I don't think I have the rear ride height quite as high. I think I have it at 63.
Okay.
And then I had the toe